right in the chair.
And a couple of players I want to talk about as well that were kind of challenging that tilted. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to leave it to. I'm going to let the story tell itself, gentlemen. Do you know why? Because it's time to get into game number 1, baby. Katowice, I hope you're ready for this one. Round number 1 is underway. Gentlemen, take it away.
Oh, man. So Facts Fox, we wanted to look at this man in particular, and I'm a little bit disappointed off the bat here. At least in solos, I'll say this, though, Speedy. We talked about him, and he's been so vocal about how often he wants to go tilted, but he's given it up off the bat. So adaptations, as we were just talking about on the desk, we're seeing players do that, at least here in solos so far today.
I 100% expected him to drop tilted, but it looks like he's opting to go into one of his most populated, more contested areas now, the pirate ship.
You're going to have Funk Bomb there, as you can see, towards that north-hand side as well. He's going to have at least a couple of chests off the guy. Actually, 3 of them. Looks like he's actually read into this position quite well because triple chests off the bat. That's going to get him loaded up relatively well. You can see he's got the redeploy in there. He's got the SMG, a grenade launcher as well.
The only thing he's missing in this loadout is a shotgun. He can't really contest someone close range, but maybe he could pop a couple of grenades at an opponent, get some shield tags.
Well, let's see. So, unfortunately for him, he's not going to be going tilted. We're not going to see the battle of him up against Aiden. We already do have our first eliminations rolling in. Jarl's going to be dropped off the bat here. Fnatic going to be down 1 player. But yeah, I'm a little bit sad to not see him, but at the same rate, I'm proud of him to adapt his style, right? To change things up.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what he can do in this pirate ship area. Stompy over here in Frosty Flights.
Yeah, so it looks like he's been relatively uncontested so far. Still has that chest up above him if he does need it. We have Demo up against Eric off the bat as well. So a little bit of building going on now, and it looks like Demo, actually both players not going to have any sort of shields. Demo's the one applying this pressure.
Absolutely. The reason you land here in Diner is because you don't want to get contested, but didn't really work out according to plan.
All right, so while we do see this fight breaking down as Nate takes down Shinken, to update you as well around the map, we actually do have a relatively good spread across. We got a couple of players already being dropped as well. I'm trying to go over the list. Is any notable names that you
Demo taking down Eric. A beautiful pump.
Yep, very, very beautiful. We see Saf as well. Flexi, the German player here out of Gambit, going to be hiding inside of a bush in the meantime. And just to remind you guys at home, this is a different format. Every elimination matters. Every elimination gets you 5 points on the board, and Demo already has his first.
The bush strat's a classic, too. Just kind of hide in there and hope your opponent doesn't see you. Try to sneak around. Smeef really low here.
That's actually Milan's duo, the 16-year-old prodigy that we're talking about before. He's got a legendary compact SMG. He's got the shotgun as well. He's got a decent kit, but what he doesn't have, Speedy, is the health to work with here, especially if up against the Vic.
No, he needs to get out of here, and he needs to get out of here fast.
Well, it looks like he's going to be trying to do so. As you can see now, the Vic going to be taking down some of these balls, replacing it for himself, and you can already see there's a major battle happening here on top of things. Windwalker now going to be up against Power, so Jarl's teammate here out of Fnatic.
Looks like Power had recently taken out another opponent. Windwalker just kind of there waiting for third party.
Well, the big names that we expected to be looking at over the course of today, Speedy, are still alive and kicking.
Yeah, Power just kind of disengaging there with the drift board. It's a nice little mobility item to get you in and out of situations as fast as possible in a tournament environment.
Kaiser up against Jesse. You wanted to see the X2 boys. We're going to have our first little inkling of a fight here. As looks like he's going to eventually just back away here. He's got a couple of clingers. I like to see these clingers. We haven't really had many of them go off in the early stages, but as we know, transition to that mid game, attention to that late game is where things are really interesting. Now Bowman going to be under a couple of shots here up against Beehive.
3 players up here on the mountain. It's kind of an awkward situation. You can't really disengage. There's no more storm wings. You can't leave. There's a couple of zip lines that you can take, but you know, overall Beehive just kind of holding on to that high ground.
There are 3 players though. I wonder if Beehive knows there's a player like pretty much directly under him. The thing is, he's fine. He's in the circle for now.
Yeah, there's no rush. I mean, Beehive has a rift. He can get out of here. Skite has a rift. They can both get out of here whenever they want. They're in zone. They have plenty of time.
Funk Bomb and Demo, 2 players I didn't expect to be going head-to-head this early on now, Speedy. But it doesn't seem like we're going to have a fight break off just yet.
Yeah, so Funk Bomb and Nate Hill, both duos, currently in solos, but they kind of have a more passive endgame style. So I definitely don't expect them to see them pushing aggressively towards any any situation that they can avoid.
Well, maybe not them, but FaxFox is here in the vicinity, and we know him to be very, very aggressive. He has a launch pad if he wants to use it. But again,
Imagine just went down in the kill feed there.
yeah, Zypan does secure that elimination. But I like to see this. We have 4 players currently in this vicinity, and again, I kind of agree with you. I kind of want to, bring to life your sentiments again. I don't think we're going to see any sort of engagement just yet. Myth now potentially trying to come in as well. Just pick up the quad, going to be looking to come around. Jordan now, the other X2 player with Seth hot on his heels. He's got a decent kit to use too. He's got a slurp in there, a couple of small shields.
Yeah, he's looking good. Definitely playing for endgame. It's kind of what we expected to see, right? The first game, everyone just feeling each other out. Aggressive players like FaxFox, no eliminations yet, first circle in. Typical of what, a first game should kind of look like.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Stink Bomb coming in. He knows there's a player there now taking a little bit of damage. Throws it ahead of him, trying to catch him off guard. Seth is just being pressured as Jordan's looking to actually close it on this elimination potentially. He's got the shotgun for up close play. He's going for the replace. He gets it. He goes for the edit as well, but that's a great escape here by Seth. But for how long? Actually, Seth actually escapes and manages to turn around to take down Jordan with a great little play. He uses the ramp to block the shot, right? Then gets above him and drops.
I absolutely expected Jordan to win that engagement. He had the shield or the health tags on him. He had the advantage. He had the high ground, and Seth ended up turning it around.
Now X8 going to be tuning in with him here as his kit looking all right for now. So having a little bit of a strong start, which is very important for here. Dementos be on Team Secret now, going for a little bit of engagement. Up against Saf, and Saf is the player I have to win this whole thing, to win this whole tournament solos. And no! Saf goes down! The commentator's curse comes through. My boy Saf, I'm sorry, I apologize. But Dementos, that was a fantastic shot.
I'm so upset. I really want to see Saf in the end game and show us what he could do.
We got a pirate cannon.
We have a cannon.
We got a pirate cannon. I want to see someone get an elimination with this. Hell, I want to see someone blast out of it like Team Rocket and get it across the other side of the map. And our Provoked is going to be on the high guard. He's got Vilix and BloodX under him.
It's kind of funny that we see these players setting up here. They know there's a cannon. Really good in case they don't get circled. Just kind of launch out of there. If you're in a cannon, you can get 100 or 260 meters in one direction.
And you can do a lot of damage with it too. You can do, I think it's 100 direct, it's like 50 splash. That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage that you can inflict on your opponent. Their Vilix, really weak.
Yeah, I think it might be time to use the Rift here to escape this one, just to go for the first aid. We got the Storm Surge coming through. He's actually below the threshold. Now he's going to be above it. Luckily for him, but the pressure's going to be coming through, and Provoked going to get that elimination, get his first now.
Provoked ends up getting that elimination nicely. Unfortunately, Vilix did not use the Rift and did not rotate out. Just kind of sticking around, hoping that he would get lost in the sauce, but it didn't end up working for him.
I kind of wanted to see him actually use it, right? Because he had the first aids. He had the opportunity to retreat from here, heal back up, keep himself alive to get into that top 50 where he can start accumulating these points.
Yeah, the problem with using a Rift, especially at this phase of the game, is if someone sees you Rift, they know you're weak. So everyone in the lobby is going to start taking those AR shots at you. They've been co-baxing 5 hours a day, so they're definitely going to get some tags. He was weak, probably wouldn't have survived.
By the way, Envy, I did see on the activity feed yet again. I believe that's his second now so far. We haven't really talked about the Korean players just yet, but he's been doing some work so far. Able to get 10 points on the board. You can see Chap able to take down Poach. A little bit of a team elimination there with Liquid Boys, but, that's what's going to happen when it comes to solos.
The team betrayal. Hate to see it.
All right, well, we can see, though, people are starting to group up. Myth going to be still alive, as you can see. We got 0-7 as well, a player here from China, from World Elite, going to be participating, still alive so far, as we're starting to trickle down, losing player by player. Flexi has gone down, by the way, a little bit earlier on, just to kind of get you up to date on the players we have had drop.
And kind of an interesting note, there's a lot of players setting up on this side of the map, especially around this, this mountain.
Right.
A lot of these players trying to get center zone, trying to get as close to some mobility items as possible so that if they don't get circle, they can move on out to the next area. So a lot of these players setting up on that pirate ship, like I mentioned before, making sure that they can use that cannon if they don't get the circle.
Oh,
and they do get the circle, so no rush.
You saw Zayt there towards the northern side, able to close in. He's actually the little purple arrow there on the minimap. Hupek, actually a player from Poland as well. He played last week, didn't really have the results that he was looking for, and the thing is, him and Skix were actually two of the players a lot of people were pointing out in particular that just didn't seem to really rise to the occasion last week, but here's a different chance.
Aim Hero, one of the Korean players here, he ended up dropping tilted. I guess his teammate, that might have been the reason. They might have flipped a coin.
Maybe.
Said Aim Hero.
Ooh, a lot of them coming through. Those Zextro gets on the board. The Vic gets on the board as well. And players are starting to drop like flies. This Aim Hero trying to live up to his name here, and he won't be able to. That'll be Hupek able to come up big. And now Camo.
Camo moving on in for the third party. Heard a lot of action. There's also Max Aliber. But Hupek is just going to shoot up there, and everyone's going to go their separate ways. So he's safe for now.
And Camo's pretty much ahead of the group so far in retreating from this position. Mitro. What can we say about you? We want to talk about you quite a bit. He looks like did get elimination. Then you see Stompy trying to come through, who could get third party from Mitro from the other side. Stompy's going to be in a very precarious position here, Speedy.
Camo, just locking in on him, not really firing. He wants to get into circle here, but he gets tagged from the back.
He's got the rift if he needs it. You can see Camo trying to bide his time. That's going to be Cloud walking around him here. Just going to be healing back up, get back to that 200 HP as the storm will start to shrink here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to waste that rift if you don't have to. So you just want to hold on to that until end game.
So here's the question for you, right? It's a line that everyone knows. Is it true if you don't use it, you lose it? In these situations when you're on so low HP, you just have to use the rift, right? Like the thing is, you're most likely not going to get elimination. You need to run to have another chance later on to maybe break into some points in the top 50.
It absolutely depends. You definitely want the rift for endgame. You want it for those, far moving circles. But we saw a player earlier, he didn't get going down. So if you're in a tight spot, in a little pinch, you want to get out of there, you have to burn your mobility. You have to get out of there, and you have to live to fight another day.
Exactly, and I honestly, I would respect that play. Just unfortunate that we didn't see it.
TSM Cloud and TSM
Myth, right next
neighbors
to each other.
next to each other, duos tomorrow.
Yeah, well, they're enemies today, but they're friends tomorrow, or hopefully they'll be friends again tomorrow, as Bizzle does get elimination for himself. You can see Stompy doesn't have the greatest kit in terms of weapons, but he does have the 2 rifts, and he does have a lot of shields to use. Just Cloud's being pressured by Airwax. Airwax's thing is, he's been a professional player in other games before in a MOBA. He's been playing at the top level, and I know Stress back there is looking at him to be one of the top performers over the course of this weekend.
Absolutely, Airwax, another day, another land.
A little provoked. Again, he's going to have the shotgun, the rifts. We see a lot of rifts in play technically at the moment. So when we get into those later stages, things are going to get extremely crazy. A lot of players are actually still towards that Dusty Divot side and towards the southern side of the circles. So I'm imagining we're going to have here, Speedy, in a few moments, people start to transition here up north.
Yeah, the majority of the lobby is outside of the circle right now. Most of these players at the broken Pirate Outpost need to start going on in. I expect a launch pad going in. This is TSM taking out Kripa.
Yeah, good old
Love
Myth.
to see it.
And then Seth as well. Nice little drop down. He actually catches his opponent off guard. He wasn't even looking towards him.
I always get nervous when I see them drop into a box. Traps could go down, could easily turn the other direction.
Yeah, and you don't want to be eliminated from a trap, at least in game 1. Mitro as well, looking for the shot the window. I believe he did get that one. But now we've got Camo there. We've got Nate, Scram, Tomo from Alliance, Sakona as well. Smeep off to the side. Again, the duo from Milan. And Animal, we haven't even touched on him just yet. I think Zacubus was saying he's a player he expects to do well.
You definitely want to keep an eye on Animal. Yesterday during the practice matches, him and his teammate Aspect actually won 2 practice games back-to-back.
Wow. That's a good sign. That's an amazing sign.
That is an amazing sign.
I just hope they didn't peak too early in the tournament, Get those 2 wins yesterday and then not be able to perform when it comes to the actual matches.
Absolutely. Hopefully the adrenaline slept them and they're nice, calm, and collected. Ghost Aiden, they're on the side, just trying to get into zone.
Yeah, good to see him still alive and kicking. I believe you mentioned before Aim Hero was the player that was over towards Tilted, so it looks like they're just disengaged from each other. Storm Surge in effect as well.
So Storm Surge, if a player is, for example here, Provoked has 265 above the threshold, he's in a nice position. He doesn't have to worry about it, but for the player who doesn't have a lot of player damage dealt, he's going to start getting his health ticked. in a really tough position. He's definitely going to want to start pushing or laying down some fire.
Well,
otherwise, he's going to be out of the tournament.
Yeah, and well, at least out of the first round. Well, so he's out of the tournament. We're not kicking him out yet, Speedy.
Out of the game.
Yeah, out of the game. We can see Aiden going to be taking high ground here as we see a lot of players trying to build on and add their own little rooms to this giant castle being built. Milan has fallen, unfortunately. But again, just match number 1. Just turned 16 about a day, or actually not a day, so about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. And Jarkos, the man that came in as the wild card into this, didn't even know he's going to be playing here today in this Solos tournament. He's still alive here as we're about to approach that top 50.
I'm definitely excited to see him still alive. I definitely want to see how he does. I believe I see Liquid 72 Hours there still alive as well. So he managed to, you know, get a safe drop and rotate on into the circle.
Jarkos has to be careful, though. He's got Jesse off to his side. He's got Skix under them, but we're at these stages where everyone's going to be on everyone. It's about hitting these shots, getting the eliminations where you can get them. You see Jarkos still just looking for a couple of shots here in between. He's got a launch pad, so there's no need for him to rush into the circle just yet.
Yeah, the ideal situation here is that someone else puts down their launch pad and you just take their launch pad. You don't really want to put down your own.
Yeah.
You want to save it for endgame, save it for that, you know, those long moving circles. And most of these players over here by the diner definitely needs to start thinking about that rotation.
Cloud has fallen, by the way, so TSM going to be losing another player so far.
Kuna's still in it.
Yeah, he's still around, and Zeke as well. Like the thing is, I don't mean it to sound bad, but there was a lot of underperforming out of players that we saw in the Polish tournament that we expected to be into the top levels. Now go into this tournament, which is, I mean, arguably a more difficult tournament for everyone. It's going to be even more harder for him to perform. Right?
Yeah.
But he's been able to break 50 so far.
Yeah, players like Zeke who maybe didn't perform as well as they might have wanted in last week's tournament. Definitely a chip on their shoulder, definitely want to prove it to themselves. And everyone here.
Jarkos has gone down. The Brazilians have rock history, gets elimination on the board, eliminating our wild card player. Look at this. See, cannons coming through.
I believe I saw Razaru, Energy Zate, another, and they're keep an eye on definitely one of the, I believe this is Sap teammate.
Yep, Sap and Zate. Different words, but friends on the left here. See them here and here. Rock going on. Zate getting high ground. Always not the old high ground. Alpha, the ones that have this pretty much shot. Got a couple fingers. It's not very often we see fingers last this long a game.
No, just stay here for a game. You don't want to save fingers for, you know, some easy quick kills. Energy Zate just kind of holding that wall.
Getting the rocks off there too.
Alpha just not letting up. And when you're in your high like this, you definitely don't want to let up. You want to get as many tags as possible. Ghost Bizzle alive.
Well, this is not the question I get to. Funk have eliminated. The storm is going to start to move here momentarily, and this is where people need to have that material to build, get across, be able to maintain some sort of positions. I want to see how Alpha is going to try to maintain this high ground. He's going to have to be very careful in how he builds. Those launch pads as well. I think everyone's going to be jumping on top of this here, Speedy. You can see the pressure starting to tick in here. A lot of elimination, a lot of damage being done. Down. Nate, Faye's going to be out, I believe, with their 2 players. And Bizzle, he's just trying not to get pushed on. He's trying to not be aggressive on. He's looking to retreat away from this one, looking for another fight. He might be able to get it here. He might be able to get this elimination done. He's still looking for the damage. The building has come in. He's down to 50 HP. He can lose this fight potentially, Speedy.
Bizzle's so weak here, dropping into his box. He ends up turning it around.
Takes down Little J. Zextro as well going to fall, one of the most aggressive players we have in Fortnite.
Liquid Vivid, Vinny still alive. Camo still alive. Bizzle just trying to get his HP up after that engagement.
I think Nikoff, well, he died to the Storm Surge. A little unfortunate for there. Not going to be in the best situation. Demo's going to fall there, as you see from the low ground. Jamside, where did he even come from? He's somehow been able to take the ultimate high ground away from everyone as the Storm continues to move through. Look, everyone with Crazy Lama not going. Japan has lost out a player. And Jamside, he's got 3 eliminations. That's 15 points already. Can he maintain the spot, though?
Jamside with 16 builds left. He can't maintain this high ground. He actually gets to drop down 10 more builds. He has to get an elimination here. 105 pump going on in.
He's looking for Zade. He's too focused on Zade. He's being shot from a couple of different directions. You can see Bizzle there towards the low ground. Spieth, Vinny. You have Skeet to the left-hand side with Camo and Animal. Zade's fallen. He's now dropped out of this one. Jamside going to be floating back in to retain this high ground position.
Bizzle trying to take high ground. Bizzle ends up taking the high ground from Jamside. Jamside, no builds left.
This is tough. How do you get out of this position? He's got the maximum shield he can
He
possibly
does.
get.
He
here.
has a launch pad, but he can't even put it down because he has no builds.
Oh, he's looking to escape this, looking to maybe build down through this tower as the storms and eventually close in on him. Tomo is looking very good, back to full HP. Vinny on a sliver of health left, just trying to stay alive towards the lower end side.
Jam side ended up going down, but Ghost Bizzle maintains the high ground.
Oh, he's trying to. He's got enough builds to do it. He's got a first aid kit if he needs as well. Animal has fallen as Smeef's able to get his elimination, being brought in by Milan as his dual partner and doing some serious work here. It's Bizzle on the high ground, able to help get the damage.
Goes down 1v1.
Skeet's the one to get these eliminations. Down to that 1v1. He's going to drop down, take a little bit of damage from this one, but can he get this elimination? 14 builds left to go. He's got the shotgun. He knows where his enemy's going to be, but the time is taken away. He goes for the jump shot, actually on the build as well, trying to look for any sort of damage he can engage with before he goes for the drop, before he goes for the
Bizzle with no more builds.
Well, now he's going to have to engage into this one, right, Speedy? You can see towards the
He has to drop down. He has to drop down.
50 HP left. He's still trying to spray. Yes, SMG with 19 HP. Bizzle takes the first victory out of today.
Bizzle, our secret skirmish, first place winner 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
You
man.
love to see it.
You love to see it. You love to see that consistency as well. We didn't get to talk about this at the start of the show, but consistency is amazing. But sometimes you need to have those standout games. But hell, if you're consistently in top 3 like this, consistency is perfect for you.
Absolutely. We saw Bizzle there primed and ready to retake high ground once